I think today is about epigenetics. That's where we left off.
Yes.
So definitely, this is not a forte of mine. I have not done a little research into epigenetics, but why don't you share your knowledge and research of what you found with epigenetics?
So epigenetics it's a slippery slope. And here's the reason that I say this. So number one is what we ultimately end up start seeing is that DNA and epigenetics have started to be utilized and shown as the end all be all. And what we have to realize is that when we look at our DNA and epigenetics, it's only what we're predisposed to. It's only what we have as something that is, we have a smaller barrier to entry. So I often give this example. You have two people on a ski hill. One person who's at the very top is not predisposed to diabetes, but this person right here is actually genetically predisposed to diabetes. If both people have the exact same poor diet, poor lifestyle, poor habits, poor environment, who's going to hit the bottom of the ski hill first? The person who's predisposed. But this person might also hit the bottom of the hill. Conversely, if this person who's predisposed genetically to diabetes has a really great diet, focuses on their environment, focuses on their lifestyle, and this person who is not predisposed doesn't and has that same poor lifestyle and habit selection, this person's going to hit the ground first, and this person might never even realize it. So we have to realize and understand that DNA and epigenetics are not a death sentence. They are simply a warning sign or information to bring awareness to habits and behaviors that we should either steer clear of or really focus more on. I give the example. I was keynoting in front of about 300 doctors, and I asked somebody. I said, I asked on the stage. I said, how many people are treating clients currently or patients for hypertension, diabetes, and stress and anxiety? About 100% of the room put their hand up. I said, how many of you know which gene is responsible for these symptoms and diseases? Everybody's hand went down. And that's because there is no gene that's responsible for them. There is no predisposition that causes this, genetic break that causes this. It's a lifestyle, habit, and behavior issue. There's a study that came out in Harvard that showed, and I love this study because it just is like it's literally just a softball that I can just hit out of the park. It said children with obese parents are 80% more likely to be obese themselves. And the doctor of the study who kind of led it said all the genetic predispositions and the genes that are holding them back from actually realizing good health are the cause of that. And I was like, no. That is not true whatsoever, because if you take that child out of that environment and you put them somewhere else, that child no longer becomes obese. And so it has to be with your environment, your habits, and your behaviors. This is why we talked about HRV and the 8 controllables. HRV and these action steps that you can put into action in your life are so important, because your genetics and your epigenetics are not a death sentence. Your genetics and your epigenetics are not a crystal ball telling you what is or is not going to happen. Your genetics or your epigenetics is not a stamp of approval or denial as to what you can or can't accomplish. It is simply a form that we have to start thinking about, what do we have to do and what do we have to change in our habits and behaviors so that we can ultimately realize a different outcome.
If genetics, so I 100% agree with what you're saying, and great analogy about the ski slope. So is it necessary for people, because the treatment that if you go get genetic testing, it's not going to change how you need to take care of your body. It's not going to change the treatment. So the question, I would ask is is it necessary to get genetic testing? Because this genetic testing is so hot right now. Everybody's getting it. Is it necessary?
It's a great question, and I will say it depends. The reason I love genetic testing is for one reason, is to have more information about what your body is predisposed to. If I was to sit here, Jimmy, and say, we're looking at this and you're predisposed for hypertension, you're predisposed for high fasting blood glucose, you're predisposed for low antioxidant consumption, and a low nitric oxide count. Well, immediately I would say to you, hey, Jimmy, because of this, I need you to start instituting breath work into your day in the morning and at night. I need you to take this beet supplement so that we can increase natural nitric oxide within your body. I need you to implement this 3 hour before bed no eating window and 3 hours after you wake up no eating window. And that's something that I really think that that I need you to start implementing so that we can keep you further away. If you didn't see that you are genetically predisposed to these other items, you might be like, nah, but I'm fine right now. I feel good. There's no issue. I'm not realizing any of the diseases that I'm predisposed to. However, there are, I guarantee you, symptoms that you are ignoring because the world has told you they're normal, and you're just on your path, on your way, that person on the ski hill on their way down to hitting the bottom. But because you don't know, you haven't seen anything quantifiably that helps you buy in, you're going to ultimately realize those outcomes pretty quickly. And then guess what people say?
No.
I got it because I was genetically predisposed to it. No, it's a lie. It's a lie. Your genes are not bad. It's simply that your habits, behaviors, and lifestyle choices have helped you earn whatever disease that you are currently dealing with.
Yeah, definitely. And so just to address some of the questions. So, there's no genetic testing itself. Testing itself, one test itself does not tell you everything about your health. You need all the data. You need multiple different types of testing, but I wouldn't go crazy over the testing. But the point of testing is to get more information about what you are working with. Genetics is like, what are you working with? What were you born with? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are you working with? And then how do you pivot? How do you overcome those weaknesses through lifestyle habits? And so genetic testing is not the end all be all. No test is the end all be all. I think someone was saying iridology. Iridology is not the end all be all. There is no test that can tell you every single thing, exactly what's going on in your body. So you have to get all that information, compile it, and get with someone who is holistic, who looks at things holistic, to help you. One question is, where do people get genetic testing?
I mean, again, we do genetic testing through Own It, and here's the difference. And this is, again, something that's going to irritate some people. So there's a company that's just crushing it on the marketing side through 10x Health right now. You'll see him, Gary Brecka, he's talking all over the place. He checks for 5 things, five genes. We have thousands of genes in our body. He tests for 5. A lot of these genes are actually not actionable, and you're missing a whole bunch of other things. Then there's other testing companies that do genetic testing that look for everything possible, and they're looking at things like it's called, I think, genetic decode or something, genetic ID, something like that. And when you start, and what they start doing is they start looking at all of these things for like predisposition of Alzheimer's and cancers and things, quite frankly, can't change and can't realize and don't know. And there is no actionable change. The unique part about what we've kind of put together and who we use nutrigenomics. You can look up nutrigenomics.com. You can get it through us, super simple, super easy. But what happens is when we're looking at the one from nutrigenomics, every single gene SNP that we're looking at can be changed through a lifestyle intervention. 2, can be impacted and prevent a disease or prevent an outcome because of a habit change. And then number 3 is being able to be really specific in terms of what is it we're trying to do and why are we trying to do it. And so that's the biggest thing that you have to look at when it comes to DNA and epigenetic testing as well, is information is just information unless there's something actionable to it. And it has to be actionable in a lifestyle, habit, or behavior change. And that's what we've been able to put together really well through Own It, is taking data that your body is ultimately emitting and then being able to make a lifestyle adjustment
and so,
off of that.
You know, everybody's looking for a quick fix. You know, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people are looking for quick fixes. And, you know, they're hoping to get some test in order to tell them, oh, I just need to take this one supplement and it will solve my problems forever. No, everybody knows that you have to change your diet, exercise, spirituality, you have all of these, they're all inclusive. We all know that. In that sense, there is no shortcut. Everybody has to change it. And just because genetics is not like Justin was saying, it's not a death sentence. So genetics gives you the information. We can't change those genetics, but how we evolve using that data, that is stuff that we can change. And the expression of those genetics, you know, that is how our lifestyle either I would say inhibits or suppresses or exaggerates those specific genetic issues. So Justin, I know you got to take off. What are one last thought before you got to take off?
So again, and I feel like this is a trend and a theme in everything that we've done thus far, is there is no one-stop shop. There is no, you said it so well, Jimmy, there is no test, there is no supplement, there is no silver bullet that's coming to save you, that's coming to change this for you. It starts with being able to be empowered with what action and behavior change can you implement today? Can you take action on today? And so many of us are just grabbing random things. And what we've done through this through this series, and what we will continue to do, is giving you options, giving you choices, giving you ways in which you can get more information about your body. HRV is a great one. Genetic testing is another great one. Cellular micronutrient testing is another great one. But really, it comes back to habit and behavior change, that all of these are linked to in such a powerful way. And once we link it, once we get super specific, once we dial this all in together, we can make purposeful change that's purposeful to you, that might not be to me, purposeful to you that might not be to Jimmy, purposeful to you that might not be to your neighbors. But the fact that we get actionable information that you need, that's personable to you, that empowers you to dive in a powerful way.
Awesome.
That's when everything
thank you,
changes.
Justin. That was quick, but to the point, and hopefully everybody got a lot of value in that. All right, we will let you go, and we'll see you next week. Appreciate it, Justin. Bye.
Thanks, guys.